Hello, my friends, and welcome to another devotional connection. Sorry if I sound strange, but I'm a little sick. Actually, I'm very sick, and my voice is going, so I'm going to try to do this very quickly. And let's talk for a second. One of the things that I've found in my studies is that God is neither surprised nor offended by questions from an earnest heart. There is a huge difference between testing God and questioning Him because we're scared and we want to be sure, and questioning Him because we don't believe who He says He is. The Lord knows how to walk that fine line and knows our hearts. And don't forget the story of one of my favorite stories of Gideon and what he did in testing God in Judges 6, 1 through 40. The Lord appointed him over Israel to save Israel from the Midianites. And he asked God to confirm his calling 3 times. He asked God to consume the meat and unleavened bread. He asked God to soak the fleece on dry land, and then asked God to dry the fleece on soaked land. Gideon sometimes gets looked at as somebody having weak faith, but I don't see it that way. I see Gideon as someone who's looking to be sure that this is God asking him to do this because he's being called to a monumental task. And the angel doesn't respond like Gabriel, who made Zechariah mute for not believing his words. The God of heaven responds by participating in these tests, so to speak, so that Gideon can be sure. Never forget, Jesus Christ prayed in the Garden of Gethsemane 3 times. 3 times he sought out the Father for comfort, to deal with the emotions of what he was going through, to ask him, is there another way to make sure? And 3 times he got the same response and finally went on with God's plans for his life and his upcoming death. If Jesus could question and ask God and wrestled with God's calling, why couldn't Gideon and why couldn't we? It's not that God wants to play games. It's that he understands our humanity. Jesus understood when Thomas declared, unless I see his hands in the imprint of the nails and put my finger in the place of the nails and put my hand into his side, I will not believe. In John 20:25, Jesus understood that. And so when he goes to Thomas, he allows him to do just that. And we call Thomas Doubting Thomas. But let me tell you something. I don't believe everything I see either. And I don't believe everything I hear either. Sometimes you got to put your hand on it. So Jesus tells him in John 20:27, place your finger here and see my hands. And take your hand and put it into my side. And do not continue in disbelief, but be a believer. God is a God of compassion and sees our insecurities and addresses them head on. So when we get mad at ourselves for having questions, don't. When we get mad at ourselves for not believing right away, don't. God understands. Go ahead and ask the next question. Verify. Talk to him. Sometimes the most important thing is opening up dialogue with the King. I'll talk to you again soon.